This is like old school big Hollywood, right? You know,
big
like
sci-fi.
Movies are back, baby.
Yeah, movies are back. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it was made by committee. It felt like it was made by like with a creative purpose or a creative vision. It was cool. It was wonderful. I loved it. Loved it.
YUNKJunk. Blorp. Hey, what's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into the Walk Without Rhythm podcast, CultPop podcast, episode 68, a show where we talk about comics and movies and breaking news and not attracting the worms and all the other things that scratch your nerdy, sandy little itches. We're coming to you live from the new and improved YUNKJunk HQ.
YUNKJunk?
Gesture wildly is what it says.
Gesticulate wildly?
Yeah. A bomb-ass podcast production space in Philadelphia, PA. I'm your Quizats Haderach Duke of Arrakis, JD of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex.
Both of those titles, first of all, they're not exclusive of each other.
Right.
Oh.
But both of them deserve gravitas.
Oh.
So maybe you could give that again.
Okay. Oh, you do the first one for me.
I'm your Quetzal's Haderach, Duke of Arrakis, Brian Lieb.
There you go.
No!
Well, you didn't say it.
Damn it, you're right. Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex is a super rad shop that caters to super rad folks like yourself. So come buy all my shit with me tonight to talk about the things is Brian.
Thank you.
And Noel.
Hi.
You guys don't have Duke of Arrakis? What do you call those?
Quetzal's Haderach, Duke of Arrakis, Benny Jesuit fan.
There we go.
Not really, actually. They're pretty fucking terrible.
Lord of all, I imagine.
Oh.
I mean, maybe.
I wish I was as talented as the Frediakin or Fredikin.
Fredikin? I don't know, mostly I read these words.
Just the Fremen.
Yeah. Frediak. That's the shortening of it.
Or nickname.
I mean, isn't that the name of the culture? And then the people of the culture are the Fremen.
Yeah.
Like it's Frediya, something like that.
I don't remember. You're right though, but I don't remember exactly. Like I said, I read them mostly. Yeah.
Also in the booth is our albino warrior, Dylan the Great. Remember, if anything goes wrong, Dylan did it.
How did I get to become the albino warrior?
Because that guy's dope.
Right?
Okay, so
that guy.
The albino bald warrior who used to be Elvis.
That's because what is it, Getty Prime? That's because they have a black son. They all
that shit was wild.
The Harkonnens. You're talking about, right?
Harkonnens. Yeah.
You know what? When I was, we'll get into this, but when Phaedra Alpha, Baron.
How do you guys remember all these words?
Because I was enjoying it. I just remembered it.
I enjoyed it too.
I knew it.
But I'm like, sand.
I read a
there was
bunch
sand
of these
and some
books,
penises, giant penises that they wrote on the sand. That's all I remember.
That was the guy next to you.
Wait, are all your penises disembodied from any kind of
all but one.
All the peni.
You haven't seen him in years.
Yeah.
There is a when I was the David Lynch version. I'm almost positive they called them the Harkonnens.
Oh really? I always had Harkonnen.
Because my entire life I thought it was the Harkonnen, like the Harkonnens, the Harkonnens. But I'm sorry.
Is that like when M. Night Shyamalan created the Avatar movie, or like and he was like Ong? Yeah.
I mean, 2 A's makes it at least.
Like here's the thing. I could understand the David Lynch movie. It is from a novel. There are so many words that I learned from reading that I did not hear, and I was like, oh yes, my plan has come to fruition. And someone goes, do you mean fruition? But like, if you're M. Night Shyamalan translating a cartoon that already had the word "ang" in it, god damn it, drive me nuts. Anyway, hey, that was the intro. We nailed it. You're welcome. Now we're going to move on to the next section I like to call "What You Been Up To This Week." I'm going to throw it to Brian.
Hey,
what you been up to this week, huh?
Well, I watched the entirety of the Oscars this year, the Academy Awards.
Just this year's.
Maybe not only, but it's been a very long time if I've ever. But no, I did not go back and watch the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah, thought about it.
You didn't want to get lost. There's so much continuity.
There was the plot. I had to follow the plot, and I did ask a lot of people online, "Hey, should I watch at least the last 20?"
Yeah,
I mean, they actually reference them frequently. A couple of them,
true.
They're like, this guy won an Oscar for this, and I'm like, I didn't even see that movie.
Shit.
I don't know what's happening.
What did you think? Why did you watch it?
Hold on a second. Wait a minute.
Why did you watch it?
You don't watch movies. There's so many movies you haven't watched. Why do you watch the Oscars?
Tamara said, Brian, watch a little of the Oscars with that. And I was like, I don't feel like watching the Oscars. She was like, just a little bit. And we watched
just the tip.
It started with the tip. And it went until the
completion?
Last part of the television broadcast.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. It wasn't even television. It
was,
I guess, but not broadcast. We watched it through Hulu, probably.
Yeah.
And so, she was like, let's watch the Oscars. And I was having an all right time. And then a ways in, I was like, with the Oscars.
Yeah.
You know, they're just getting exactly. Who needs this?
So I liked it. What did you dislike and what did you? Is it just award shows
antsy
all
throughout
together?
The end of it? In the beginning, I was like, these people, they're so up in their world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're friends, right? That sounds nice.
Yeah.
What if we had awards? You know?
Yeah.
That would be fun. So we should do that. That's why I wanted to talk about the Oscars.
We should start our own awards.
Yeah.
There is something like, up your own ass just about like televised award shows. I completely agree with that. Yes. But I mean, I would absolutely watch, like if they televised the Eisners every year, I would fucking watch it.
I'd probably watch
them. What are the Eisners?
At least the first time.
The Eisners are, they're basically the comic book Academy Awards. Yeah.
So I mean, it was fun. That John Cena thing was fun. Where they talked about the guy that went streaking in like the 70s on the Oscars.
Is that why he did that?
Yeah.
That's
so the setup was 50 years ago, there was a televised streaker. And it was, before they were able to really do good delays or anything.
It was live, I guess.
Yeah, it was live. Yeah. So it was Jimmy Kimmel setting up the joke of John Cena was going to streak. So he just like pops his head out. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh,
he's like, you have to do this. I don't want to do it. And they fought about it for a little bit. And then he gave him the big envelope. He's like, get out there and do it. So then he held the envelope and just like crab walked. But the punchline of the joke was the very first word he said when he got to the podium was he was presenting costumes.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was a pretty funny bit.
That's cute. All I saw online on Twitter was like people saying that it's the destruction of the masculine man and they make every masculine man look foolish.
I don't know if my entire job was like working out and being huge and ripped.
I would never wear clothes.
I was going to say.
He's funny.
He's great. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I wonder how much of that kind of statement are people who are doing it in a very calculated manner to incite anger. You know what I mean?
They are.
Whether or not, like, there's the people who are doing it to incite anger because they believe it. Yeah. And then maybe also people who don't believe that, but are just like, I, for whatever reason, want to harm the world in this way, in this fashion.
Some people want to watch the world burn.
Some people. Some people want to watch it argue. It's beneficial to...
They did something this year at the Academy. I actually love watching the show. I always have, just because I love movies.
Yeah.
And Oscar polls and like figuring out who's going to win. I usually kind of track the whole thing just because it's kind of fun, like fantasy football in a weird way. Which I know both of you are huge fans.
I love it.
Yeah. Huge fans of fantasy sports leagues.
You know what I mean?
From there it is. Yeah. High concept, not low or mid concept.
Exactly.
High concept.
High fantasy football.
High fantasy football. Exactly. Exactly.
Nice.
But something they did this year that they haven't done in like 15 years that I thought was really fucking cool, and I loved it when they did it, was normally it is just last year's winner presenting the award for this year's.
Yeah.
This year, what they did was they had 5 previous winners come out and introduce each one of the nominees.
Oh, that was
in
cool.
Like a little speech. Because it normally it's just like one person being like, this one, you win.
Yeah.
This time it's the award itself is like being recognized publicly by one of your peers. Recognized publicly by one of your peers. And
like you were really good. You got nominated for an Academy Award.
Yeah.
Here's a little thing about you.
Yeah, and they got like a nice little speech from a previous winner, usually somebody that they admire. I was like, some of them kind of emotionally affected me. I was just like, that's fucking cool. Sally Field going off about how revolutionary and wonderful Emma Stone is for like 30 seconds. And you're just like, that's pretty good. Yeah. That's awesome. Michelle Yeoh talking about, because she won last year.
Yeah.
What was she talking about? I don't remember. But either way.
Emma Stone.
No, they each got a different
person.
Wait, I thought she
gave the award.
He gave the award.
But she's not, that wasn't her. Yeah.
That Cave is the one that talked.
It's just, and then like Nicolas Cage making fun of Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
Or the best one was Sam Rockwell introduced Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yeah.
And it was hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that shit I liked. You know, all these people
cool.
like praising each other, but it like the awards praising part is kind of cringe.
Yeah.
Friends getting to talk about friends publicly. I was like, this is really
people
fun.
who
This
look
is
up
sweet.
to other people in the same industry.
It was
Very cool.
kind of sweet.
Yeah. I do not bother with the Oscars anymore. I used to go to Oscar parties and have a good time, and I was like invested a little bit, and I just don't care anymore. I almost don't. It's like the Super Bowl to me, where I'm like, oh, that's today. Cool. And then at the end, I go, I wonder who won. Oh, okay. Ah, good for her.
You know
good
what?
For that
There's so
person.
many things now, right? And the kinds of things that I think we tend to gravitate to mainly that this podcast is about do not often win Oscars.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, these were my 5 favorite things of this year. Like the fact that Everything Everywhere All at Once won last year was like,
pretty wild.
oh my God, it's amazing. Maybe the first sci-fi movie ever to win Best Picture. And so we're like, oh, these 5 things were my favorite 5 things of the last year.
Yeah.
None of them have been mentioned. One for special effects. And score.
Return of the King won, and I think 2001 won.
Did it?
I think so.
Okay. So a while though, at least.
It's not, usually genre is not.
Hard to
which sucks, but whatever.
We were talking even tomorrow night about, there was a comedic actor I think that was up there and we were like, have they ever won? I said, well, comedies don't usually win.
Oh.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, she's like, there's no comedies category. I said, no.
For the Golden Globes there is.
Is that right?
Yeah, Golden Globe. So the biggest competition this year was between Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone, because both of them were winning every other award. Like both of them won Best Actress at the Golden Globes, one for drama, one for comedy. Both one won the SAG Award, the other one won the Critics' Choice Award. One won the so
neck and neck
the whole time. And I think somebody was just like, well, they both won Golden Globes. Like, yeah, they're the only award show that actually separates comedy and musical and drama, where both of you could win. Yeah.
What did Emma Stone win for comedy?
Apparently, Poor Things is a comedy.
Oh,
so 20th Century Fox submitted it as a comedy or musical.
Neat.
Interesting. Right.
Okay.
I mean, it is
comedy.
I haven't seen it yet, but it is fantastical.
Yeah.
And
I could.
a
There
comedy,
are
right?
some the funny lines.
It's a satire.
Probably
right?
not what.
Yeah. So that would be comedy.
Yeah.
Even if it's not funny or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone's in on the joke.
We were trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not why they submitted it as a comedy, but comedy used to mean a story that ends badly or starts badly and ends well. The Romeo and Juliet is a comedy.
Yeah.
They die, but their families reconcile, right?
Oh.
And the Divine Comedy, what is now called the Divine Comedy, starts in hell and ends in Paradiso.
Thank you for that. All this time I was going,
Why is that a
I don't know
comedy?
if that was all that funny.
Yeah.
The Baz Luhrmann one was kind of funny,
Face
I
change.
guess. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there were actually, since I was pushed into watching and talking about the
I was
Oscars,
forced to watch it. Yeah.
sort of slowly,
Yeah.
but forced. So I liked finding out about the various animated shorts and feature length.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I want to check a bunch of those out. And there was one other plus that
What'd you think of Ken?
it was cool. It was,
yeah,
you know
it's
what?
pretty
I
funny.
was very excited about it. Tomorrow's like, why are you excited? It's just a song. You don't get this excited about songs. I was like, but it's Ken from Barbie. It was awesome. And you know what? It was cool. But in the movie, it was very cool.
I mean, in the movie, it was
You know what I mean? It was like very monumental emotionally in the movie. And it was a good song too. This one, I was like, oh, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. No. What'd you been up to this week, huh?
I've been away for a couple of weeks. I've been up to a lot of things, but one of the most important things that I've been up to is revisited a movie from 1993, starring Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, called Super Mario Brothers. And it's not just that I revisited; it's how I revisited it. I want to share something with you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh.
The movie? Oh.
Whoa.
This is the Umbrella Entertainment 4K Super Mario Brothers set. I don't know which camera is better for this. You want me to hold it up? This bitch? All right. I didn't know it was this massive when I pre-ordered it like 6 months ago, but I want to share with you some of the things that are included in this massive set.
Damn it, Noel. How
The book.
How is there this much about that movie?
So the film in 4K, but it's not just the movie. It's also the work print.
Oh.
So the rough first copy with bad ADR and temp music from like other Danny Elfman movies, it's wild.
Is it like a different plot than they edited it?
There's a lot of scenes that aren't included, and they're in different order too.
Interesting.
So there's the work print. There's tons and tons. It's like 4 discs worth of special features. The absolutely everything, like music videos, Japanese trailers, stills. Don't hold up the other stuff yet, because this is going to be cooler. Just tons and tons of stuff. Awesome. Also, it's an import, so I was afraid I wouldn't be able to use this, but on my 4K Blu-ray player, it's all region. So yay!
Great.
All right. So just first of all, also it is the prettiest and cleanest I've ever seen this movie. It is like just the transfer is beautiful. Nice. What else comes in this box set? Well, recreation of the official movie magazine from Nintendo Power.
Oh, sweet. I used to love Nintendo Power.
Completely recreated with old ads and everything, and like a little mini.
Oh, that Terminator ad.
Little mini poster and stuff. Awesome. Yes. I actually had that full length magazine.
Sweet.
Lights, camera, fungus.
What? Okay.
Yeah. Trust the fungus.
Oh,
we've got
nerve center of the farm.
Official lobby cards from the film. You know, in case I want to get some autographs. I don't know. Whatever. Cool. A 35 millimeter, a 35 millimeter. I mean, it might be worth it. Celluloid print of this scene specifically is Dennis Hopper as Koopa.
Cool.
Oh.
Stickers, Pog stickers.
Oh, Pogs.
This is where it
Pog
gets.
stickers?
This is where it gets even cooler.
Was the product back then Pogs or stickers you could put on Pogs?
Stickers you could put on Pogs, like on your Slammer.
On my Slammer.
Cool.
Are you familiar with a Slammer and Pogs?
I know Pogs.
My Slammers already have stuff on them, but
I didn't know you could buy stickers for your Pogs.
I didn't know that.
I'm sure it was like some 45-year-old guy trying to appeal to the kids. Right. So I don't even know if it was worth it at the time. Either way.
Yeah.
A book of all the scripts. So it has
all the scripts.
It has multiple versions of the script in here. It's 300 pages. I have not read this yet. So it's all the versions of the script.
Interesting.
And then finally, a small hardcover, 200-page plus hardcover of the entire like oral history of the movie and the promotion of it. So in here is like 4-color interviews, production stills, some promotions from other countries, behind the scenes stuff, versions of posters.
This ain't no game.
Just absolutely. And then also within the box, it also came with 2 mini posters.
One of them going on the wall.
Film. You know what? I would frame this and put it up. Yes. There's that.
Cool. Oh.
And then there's the Japanese poster.
Oh my. Oh, that one's pretty cool. I like that.
That one's dope, actually.
Yeah, that one is cool.
Wow.
Now, the other one, it's interesting. There's the same pose and same basic poster, but in one, they are in their colored red and green outfits. And the other one, it's kind of like all blue. An interesting choice by
illustrated
the poster
or
makers,
not.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
Or like, we don't want to go too much. We don't know.
For a mediocre to bad movie, this is the most impressive Blu-ray set I've ever gotten in my entire life. Actually, I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
I put it on immediately to check if it would work, and then I kept watching it. And my wife was like, "No,
we're not doing
right
this.
now.
Yeah,
let's not do this right now." I was like, "I just want to see if it works."
5 more minutes.
Yeah. So I've been up to Super Mario Brothers from 1993.
Mario, you obliterated that guy. Koopa, not at all. I turned him into slime mold. It's practically immortal. It will be interesting to see how it works on mammals.
So that is obviously a version of the script that was before it was changed. And
obviously that line's not in
the final
that
film.
Scene is, I don't know if you guys have seen it in a while. That scene's not in the film.
I've never seen this movie.
In a while. You never saw it?
You've never
I've
seen
never
it
seen
It's a
Super Mario Bros.
Did you watch the cartoon where he appeared? I don't remember if it was him or not. But there was a live action.
This is one of the coolest.
There was one with Captain Lou Albano.
That's a cartoon.
That was a cartoon. Yeah.
You never saw it. Now, Noel, question: are these Koopas who would in the game be much smaller and not like bipedal humanoids? Are they like that? And there's a transformation when they come here or something?
That is something that happens off. First of all, they don't come here.
They're already here.
They go the interpretation of Mushroom Kingdom in this movie is that it's a rundown metropolis style land, not like large mushrooms everywhere.
It's not a different world?
It is a different world. It's just not like
But they dress like that in their own world.
Yeah.
They're not.
The aesthetic of it is like a shitty version of New York in 1985.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, right. You seem very pleased with your purchase.
Absolutely.
And you did watch it since you got it. You've seen it.
Not all the way through, but I've seen the movie roughly 2 to 3 dozen times.
Really?
Maybe more.
Oh wow.
I was obsessed with it when I was younger. I remember seeing the preview for the first time when I went and saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 on a Saturday afternoon at Cinema Square in Spring Hill, Florida, and they had the preview, and I was like, "This is my life now."
Yes.
Yeah.
And it
this is what I believe and love.
And this has guided a lot of your choices. In the world.
I was that way for the first Turtles.
I was that way for the first Turtles.
I love
also.
that
I saw that at the Newport Richie 10. I remember the theaters I see some of these stupid fucking movies at. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. I'm gonna spend some time putting this all away.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been up to. I watched The Holdovers. Speaking of the Oscars, I assume not quite as good as Super Mario Bros. From 1993.
Different vibe.
Yeah,
it hasn't been around long enough to know.
Yeah.
Sometimes art is above metrics like better or worse. It's just different.
Yeah.
So written and directed by Alexander Payne, starring Paul Giamatti and Divine Joy Randolph, who won an Oscar for this role.
Sure did.
That was who Michelle. No, it wasn't.
From Temple University.
Never mind.
Yeah, Philly lady.
Oh, really?
So has anyone seen The Holdovers?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
We talked about seeing
Not
it.
yet. I really want to though.
I saw it.
Did you like it?
It was okay.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest.
Thank you.
I don't get it.
During the movie?
I kept waiting because I heard all the hubbub.
Sure.
There's a lot of hubbubbery going on about The Holdovers. And we did it for Movie Club last night. And so, we sat down and watched it. It was a perfectly enjoyable movie that was really well shot. It almost feels of the time. Like a lot of the techniques that they were using to film this felt like they were pulled directly from the time period.
Also had like a grainy quality too, didn't you?
Yeah.
70s?
70s, yeah. Yep. Like 1971, I think. It takes place. Okay. And so it's another one of those movies where you've got the grumpy teacher and the grumpy kid, and then they're stuck together, and
do they get less grumpy together?
I wonder if they'll come to an understanding and start to realize that they're not so different.
But they don't.
They did.
They do.
They do. Spoiler alert. So it's a perfectly lovely, fine movie. I just didn't. I kept waiting for the thing to happen where I go, that's why everyone's talking about this movie. There is a scene that comes along and you're just riveted and you're like,
puts everything else into context.
Puts all the emotions in your brain and then it comes out your eyes. And I was like, this is a good movie. It's fine.
Scene comes out of your eyes?
No, all the emotions come out of your eyes.
You're describing emotional manipulation.
Yeah. Yes. I remain unmolested by the emotional manipulation.
Alexander Payne's movies are usually very, if not navel-gazy, then just more subtle than anything else that's usually out. So like he did Sideways, About Schmidt, Election. All of these movies have they all are kind of almost subdued in their topic, even when it's kind of crazy. So yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be standing in the rain emotional kind of movie, more of real small little movements the whole time with some humor.
I'm a real easy mark when it comes to emotional manipulation in a movie or a commercial. I will just sob immediately.
The woman's out of garbage bags.
No!
It meant so
Won't
much to
anyone
her.
help her? Oh, she's got it. They're great. Okay, she's all better.
And then that joy.
We adopted the cat.
So
the cat had garbage bags.
So yeah, I just if I'm not being emotional, if I'm not responding emotionally to a film, I'm kind of like, I'm a real easy guy to manipulate. So it was good. I'm not saying it was bad. Not deserving of its accolades. You heard it here first.
JD hates Holdovers, thinks it's trash.
Garbage.
Alexander Payne, why do you have a job?
Yeah, I want to kick Divine in the bits and steal her.
I would put money on her.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, she would wreck you.
Yeah.
But she still gets kicked in the bits. This is a bad scenario.
Is this a movie that you guys were looking forward to?
Oh, I'm definitely gonna watch it. Yeah.
I didn't realize the other movies that he did, and I didn't see Election, but the other two I liked a lot.
Election's the most subversive out of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
Election.
Yeah.
Right.
Drew.
Reese Witherspoon and Matthew Broderick. Yeah.
I quite like that movie. Yeah.
Sideways and About Schmidt, I really liked.
I really liked Sideways. I remember About Schmidt like being
more,
left cold.
Oh, really?
Very much.
Which one was About Schmidt? I know it's Jack Nicholson.
It's Jack Nicholson. His wife dies, and he's just like, okay, what's next? And takes a camper and drives the country.
I have not seen that.
It's a good movie.
I was thinking of the one where he goes to a diner and then meets what's her nuts.
Oh, that's
As Good as It Gets.
Thank you.
That's a good movie.
That one I like.
I like As Good as It Gets more than About Schmidt, but I do like both of them.
Yeah. I remember just like not even really like going along with About Schmidt for a while, because when his wife of like 30, 40, 50 years does die, he's just like,
I guess it's about Schmidt now.
Okay.
That's where it gets its name.
It's Schmidt time, baby.
Yeah, he's just like,
mostly that.
like everyone's just like, are you okay? He's just like, yeah, I'm great. She died. Okay. I was just like,
see? Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It's just a
I've
little
been meaning to see, in the sense of like, when it was in theaters, I saw on the poster and I was like, that looks cool. Paul Giamatti. I like Paul Giamatti. And with no great push, but like having seen it now pop up because it was in the Oscars, and it's like, well, we could watch that. That would be nice. So, yeah.
As opposed to Poor Things, which when I saw that, I was like, I hope that wins a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's awesome. Yeah. This one, I was like, well, it was nice.
It won a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It
Poor
did.
Things,
It did.
Congratulations.
All right. Speaking of stuff.
That's what we've been up to this week.
stuff.
And if you want to like, comment, subscribe, do so in the channel, or you can email us at cultpopco@gmail.com. What have you been up to this week?
Oh.
Oh, he's so good at this. Dune Part 2.
Dune 2.
Yeah.
Dune 2. Written by
Scottish guy.
Denis Villeneuve and John Spates. Damn it, I was so close.
Spates.
Directed by Denis, starring Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya,
Timothée, actually.
Rebecca Ferguson's.
Yeah.
I think he's mispronouncing all of them because there's a lot of them that it's like could go either way. So he just wants to make sure
Javier Bardem's.
he's Javier than everyone he's ever met.
Is it Austin Butler?
Yeah.
And Florence Pugh.
Yeah, Pugh. Paul Atreides unites with Chani and the Fremen while seeking revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the universe, he must prevent a terrible future only he can foresee.
Yeah. It's like, now I have to find one that only I can foresee to prevent it.
Can foresee.
I don't know. So you get it. He got it. Awesome. So
It's like you're being weird.
I was. Brian, but it was also a reference. Brian, I assume you saw Dune Part 1.
I saw Dune Part 1.
Oof, okay.
Yeah.
So, Yoda JD is yes, says Sam in the chat. So, all right, set us up if you would.
Okay.
How did you enjoy Dune Part 1, and then how did you feel going into Dune Part 2?
Loved it.
Go.
Very excited. I started already. I loved it. I was very excited going into Dune Part 2. So I was like, Dune Part 1 was awesome. Let's see what's happening with Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
And
Let's check in with the Dunes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
What's happening now, Dune?
yeah, what's happening?
Dune
What's
2
Dune
Electric
now?
Beetle.
Yeah. What's Dune now?
Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when they do that like off rhythm dance to the theme of what's happening now.
Yeah. Yes,
that's what helps them not attract the worms. So yeah, I was really into Dune 1. Not a lot happens, and it was cool. You know, very monumental things happen, but
Monumentous.
yeah, it was monumentous. It was rolled right through there. And so yeah, I was into it, and I'm going to anticipate your next question. I enjoyed this film.
You must have drank the worm piss.
But
You can see the
It's
future.
unrelated
So
to
water.
Oh,
That's how you're able to figure out my next question.
That's pretty reductive. It's the water of life, and it lets you see both future, present, and versions of. Yeah, it's essence
Worm piss.
or blood.
Doesn't come out.
You don't know.
That's true. I don't know.
So let's just call it what it is, the water of life.
Detail where in the worm it is created in the books. I do not recall, but
Have you read the books?
oh yeah.
So you were locked and loaded for this.
Locked and
How many are
loaded.
there?
There are 6 of the original series, and he ends it. He passed away, and he had a bunch of notes for the next one, and He did it to spite you.
Yeah.
And
real shit move, Herbert.
So,
shit move.
The 6th book ends in such a way that you're like, that wrapped up a story, but it also sets up some other stuff. So you're like, this was cool, it was satisfying, but you could see where something would have happened. And then so his son and another, a famous and prolific science fiction author, whose name I do not recall, wrote
Philip K. Dick.
No.
Damn it. It's the only one I know.
Also by that time. It's the only one you know.
It's the only one.
Gibson?
No.
Okay. It's the only one I know.
Okay.
Who's the guy who did the Bible?
God?
That guy. Was it God? Was it God?
It was John.
It depends on.
John.
I don't know.
Paul.
That's what he believes.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's one of
George.
any number of people.
So
Robert J. Sawyer.
The kid starts writing.
Anyway,
more
they
Dunes.
They wrote a bunch of like prequels and stuff like that, but they also, I just recently found out, used his notes to write in 2 books what was going to be his book 7, which concludes the story, or at least is fashioned to conclude the story. So
there's 8 books.
Yeah. 6 of which were written by Frank Herbert.
Great.
The first 4 of which I think really comprise the main Dune story. And then there's 5 and 6 are kind of like, the big stuff, all kind of the story wrapped up, and we're going to do more stuff in this universe. But yeah, I love books 2, 3, and 4 also. So I was going into it knowing a lot of the backstory that does not happen here, or that may or may not be explained fully here. It's hard to tell when you already know. It was pretty thin in places, as was the first one, not in a bad way. Yeah, so I was into it. Tamara, with whom I saw it, also really enjoyed it and had no knowledge of Dune going into it. So
I was Duneless before I jumped into Dune 1.
Right.
So just real quick, on TikTok there is a gentleman whose name is I moved it. Andrew Ski, but the E in Andrew is a 3, and he does a wonderful Dune synopsis.
I saw it, but if you're interested in the movie, I would see the movie first and then
it's
check
spoilers.
out this. Yeah, it's super spoilers. Like, don't watch the TikTok.
But after you watch the Dunening, that's a really funny TikTok.
Dune it up. Dune it up.
He also had hair plugs done, and it was like very he did TikToks of his whole process of getting hair plugs. Very neat.
Awesome.
Which I kind of respect that he didn't hide it, and he just like walked everyone through it. And apparently your head swells a great deal.
Really?
So, Noel, you obviously haven't read the books.
No.
Yeah.
No, but I've seen the David Lynch movie a good handful of times.
Okay. Not as much as Super Mario Brothers 1990.
Oh, of course.
Honestly, it might be around the same amount.
Really?
Yeah, there's a couple movies I was obsessed with as a child, and Dune was
really?
inappropriately one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have not seen that
because
one.
of the complex political themes.
More so the Messiah of it all.
Oh, no, you're like, this is really conditioning my view of the world.
I'm more of a religious zealot than I am an aristocrat.
Right, of course.
Of course. Aristocrat? I don't know.
Aristocratite.
So, do you like the Dune 1?
The Denny movie?
You love Dune.
I love Dune Lynch.
Yeah.
I mean,
is it similar?
Unironically?
I mean, it's like the broad strokes, but it's noticeably different in ways?
It's noticeably different.
Okay.
Ish. Actually, you know what? These movies are really very similar to the plot of how they condense the books and stuff in the David Lynch movie.
Okay.
It's just that the David Lynch movie is one movie.
Right.
And there's literally a point in the movie where they stop the movie and a floating head narrates to you stuff that happened in between instead of it being 2 movies.
So there's a lot of
and it was interesting
narration in the books. Like every book starts with Princess Irulan, Florence Pugh's character, a history that she has written at some point in the future.
Yeah.
Talking about that.
That's what happens in the Lynch movie. So
a word.
And kind of in the beginning of this movie.
Well, definitely. Yeah.
Yes, but you actually see her doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that did not happen in Dune 1, right?
No. She's new to this movie.
Thank you.
So in the Lynch one, basically the whole first movie is the first act of the original Dune movie. And then they do like a montage supercut of him training with the Fremen and high-fiving everyone and riding worms and being a dope white savior. And through it all, there's a overlaid kind of like Virginia Madsen as Princess Erlon talking to the screen, narrating what's been happening over the last couple of years to like ingratiate himself. And then it picks back up with him like already a part of the civilization and running into Gurney. And then it goes from there. But also in the movie, they do a bunch of things that are different from this one. When we get into spoilers, I can actually talk about I really, really like the first movie. I love Denis Villeneuve's movies. I think they're all bangers.
Tell us some.
Prisoners, Arrival.
Oh my God. Arrival.
Blade Runner 2049.
Movie.
Like
they are all bangers.
Yeah, he's.
I haven't seen that first one. I've got to now.
He is a very, very good storyteller.
And he's Denny. I thought JD was just having fun with it.
Yeah,
Denis Villeneuve.
Okay, cool.
I just love his movies. He's got this way of making everything massive, but also at the same time minimal.
Yes.
Right.
Very aptly described.
And it's just
Dune,
so
right?
cool, right? Like the scale of everything. And he was doing that in 2049 and Arrival too.
Very big, but
like
stark.
Little people, huge field, and then a big obelisk. But you're like, it's big, but it also feels like really small and intimate.
Minimax.
Yeah. Really, really cool. I stole that actually, like that. I think I read that description. I was
Minimax?
like, that's fucking awesome. No, not Minimax in general. Just like his visual style is a lot of negative space. It's something really fucking huge, but then also like a small frame of reference, so it feels more tactile and real as opposed to like green screen, the massive stuff, right? Which I really love. So I loved the first movie. The first movie was the first time that I liked most of these actors too.
Oh, really?
I have no feelings about Timothée.
Okay.
It's just like, you're a person.
Yes.
Loved him in the movie. At the time, I did not care for Momoa.
Oh, really?
Oh, I forgot he was in that.
Best fucking part of the whole, Duncan Idaho was the best part of that whole movie, and I got really sad when he died. Spoilers for a 5-year-old movie.
Came out a while ago.
And then I don't know.
They tuned into a podcast about Dune too.
Fuck. I just really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was wonderful. It was, it took its time, but I never felt bored. Right? Like it was just a wonderful movie. So I was super pumped for this. And I wasn't disappointed. It was awesome. I've seen it twice now.
Oh, sweet.
We saw it when it came out. I saw it in IMAX with the 70 mil and stuff, and I was super happy. Everything felt like it was coming out of my spine. It was awesome.
Oh, got emotion coming out of his eyes. What was coming out of your spine?
Just
there?
The visual was so like bombarded by, and also like the scene, specifically the scene where he runs into Gurney again as a smuggler.
Remind me who Gurney is.
Gurney
Justin
Halleck
Brolin.
is Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Brolin. Oh yeah, that was delightful.
Like
I was so happy.
His fight trainer.
There he is.
That scene in IMAX was like, like everyone was so, it was just so massive that it felt like I was standing in sand. Like people were this. It was wild. It was super good.
That's cool.
But it was a much more immersive experience.
And then Dune-like in that theater.
Yeah, I had sand in my ass.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's so tall, you know.
Yeah. It was behind me. I was sitting on a dune. But it wasn't worm territory. It's okay.
You can't. You got it.
And then when I was visiting my parents this past week, they wanted to see it, so I took them again. Cool. And I was fully expecting both of them to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Fucking riveted the whole time.
Nice.
My father literally just had his mouth open most of it, and he didn't snore at all, which I was just like, holy shit, this is cool. Yeah. I offered him concession. He was like, no, it's okay. I'm like, who are you? Yeah. Like they loved it.
That's awesome.
Cool.
This was great. This is like old school big Hollywood, right? You know,
big
like
sci-fi.
Yeah.
Movies are back, baby.
Grand sci-fi.
Movies are back. Yeah. It doesn't feel like it was made by committee. It felt like it was made by like with a creative purpose or a creative vision. It was cool. It was wonderful. I loved it. What about you?
That's how I felt about Poor Things as well. I thought Dune 1 was pretty good.
Yeah, you liked it?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
There not a lot happens.
Right.
But also a bit of a spectacle. It did feel big.
Yeah.
And so I walked out of that being like, well, that was cool.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just didn't think about it ever again. And then this movie was coming up, and we were going to talk about it, I think, last week on the show. So I went to go try to do the IMAX, John, and then it did not work out. So I went and saw it on a regular screen, movie screen, but it was awesome.
Nice.
Because I think even you were like surprised that I enjoyed this one because I wasn't so hot on Dune 1. But this was absolutely fantastic. Cool. I love this movie. I would love to go back and see both of them in IMAX. And you know, you were talking about how big it feels. And if I can't remember the last time that I've seen a movie where it occurred to me later of like, oh, right, that was like all CG. Like so much of that was CG, and I never thought about the CG, the computer graphics.
They were in this world that they were inhabiting.
Yeah. If this is one of those movies that if you took it back to the, I don't know, fucking 80s and showed it to me as a kid, I would have been like, well, I guess they went to another planet. Clearly in the future, we just go to other planets and we hang out with sandworms and then we film it. Like even the sandworms, I was like, they look like they belong. Like
film Twitter's been breaking this movie apart for a little while. Like, how do they do this? How do they do that? It's every single person. Like, they didn't do anything different or special in regards to special effects. It's just that Denis apparently had such a plan and vision, and everything was mapped out that there wasn't kind of like a fix it and post at it later mentality at all.
What if we do this?
Yeah, it wasn't like we'll try practical. If it doesn't work, we'll fill it in with CGI. Right. No, he had everything explicitly how he wanted it, and they planned around it. So it didn't have patchy shit at all.
Was there not some of the sets were like large cloth banners, I believe, that like some of the buildings in the first one, I think were constructed physically, but
I see.
with these large cloth banners.
Oh, I see.
And maybe there was like CGI done to it.
Not on Arrakis, but what's Atreides' home planet?
Caladan.
Yeah, on Caladan, there was large palaces and shit.
Okay.
I think so.
Interesting.
And you know what, too? That was actually my biggest gripe on that fucking movie.
Sorry, Dune 1?
Dune 1. Caladan is a watery, rainy planet. And there were multiple scenes of, like, for creative purposes, the blocking was, somebody in the foreground, somebody in the background. Realistically, they're about 10 feet away from each other. And he's just talking like this to her. He's walking over there. And I'm like, how the fuck do you hear each other? Yeah. How do you know what he's saying?
Part of the millennia-long breeding program.
Yeah. He's not using the voice, guys. He wasn't using the voice.
The voice was cool.
He was literally just mumbling in the rain to his father 10 feet away.
Yet, right. Yeah.
What was the movie that did that? Where there were two superheroes fighting in...
Oh, Shazam.
I
don't even know what you're saying, dude. We're like a mile away.
Yeah. What a great bit. I love Shazam. And there's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about in spoilers, but without spoilers, this movie was awesome. I can't wait to go see it again if I get a chance.
Before we get to spoilers, the last thing I want, because some people, I guess, turn off for spoilers, whatever. Zendaya.
Yes.
Is phenomenal in this movie.
That's awesome.
I think she's probably the most compelling character of this entire movie. Her and Javier Bardem.
Oh, he was great.
But
they even explained his accent.
Yeah.
I
left
like that.
I left this movie wanting Zendaya to have like something equivalent to like an Ellen Ripley. I want to see her in important,
like a spin-off.
Big. No, just a something of that magnitude. Like, so I compare her to like a younger Sigourney Weaver, and just so much as they bring such gravitas and awesomeness to a role that for somebody else would be considered just like action sci-fi, whatever. But like she was nominated for an Academy Award for Aliens. Yeah. So like, I want to see her kick ass. I love that.
Yeah.
She's fucking awesome. She was so effective. Like all of those action scenes, with the Spice Raiders and like I was watching her the whole time. Like she was so great. I love this.
Helicopter.
Yeah, the ornithopter stuff.
Yeah, dude.
But then also too, a lot of like the fighting at the end. She was leading that one army, and you're just like, she's fucking cool. Yeah. I want to see her in more like physically commanding roles because she just crushes it. Yeah,
I found her way more interesting than Timothée.
Yeah, she's the emotional center of this, and also in the books and in the other movies, she's just
not so
gung ho. Paul, you're the leader. Let's roll. Like there is no like emotional.
She does not question him.
No, not at all.
Not at all. There's some like not into this, but yeah, she was great.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna dip directly into spoilers. So hang out if you want.
Chug the water of life and let's see the future together.
If you haven't seen this movie, this will be the future for you.
Yeah.
There was a character in the book. I forget if she was in the first movie named Shout Out Mapes. And colloquially,
shout out my Mapes.
Exactly. Every time people say like, I'm going to give a shout out, not every time, but I think of Shout Out Mapes. Yeah.
gosh, now I forgot what I wanted to say. The other thing that I really loved, it was I sat there watching Paul's rise.
Yes.
And I found myself being like a little uncomfortable after a while. Because I was like, all right. So these people just kind of show up to these natives, and then they just sort of like kind of take over. And now she's the grandmama of the natives.
So they didn't just show up. That's the thing, is that they are making use of a potentially millennia long societal conditioning that has been set up. They have put myths into the Fremen and every other culture and insinuated themselves as religious leaders.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, those guys, we're those guys.
Yeah.
We're the ones.
It's weird. It starts as a survival tactic. We have to make them believe, so they keep us around. And then it becomes kind of like he is checking these boxes, and he is completely different than the others, and he can do these things that no one's supposed to be able to do. And then they just start to really believe it.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, it just reads as white savior.
Well, Frank Herbert wrote this as a condemnation of.
So
I did not know that going into this movie.
I got you.
So as I'm watching kind of these things unfold, and I'm like,
what's going on here?
Good.
That's the media literacy of this movie, though. Paul is not a good guy.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, it's
Frank Herbert.
Complicated.
Well, that's just it. Like, he may start with altruistic motives, but over the generations.
Oh, no, I mean throughout. Like, I don't know. This is like late
books?
in the movie. No. In this movie, actually, he says, so he can see the paths forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so many that he sees end in like complete galactic slaughter, right? He sees one path through it.
Doctor Strange,
and he's going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it involves him doing these things. So, and he is also caught in the paradigm of the Bene Gesserit, right? Like, he is the Kwisatz Haderach. He's the product of this millennia-long breeding program that has produced these ideas or these abilities, but he is also stuck in like the paths that he is in.
That's the, for lack of a better word, fun of this kind of moral dilemma or ethical question, that he knows what he's doing is maybe the least destructive, but in order to accomplish it, he has to destroy so fucking much.
Got to do a lot of stuff.
So just saying, here's your protagonist is very reductive and not accurate, but also saying, oh, he's the bad guy is also very reductive and not
right.
But
like, he's doing what best he can.
The white savior of it all is, if the movie was worshiping him, as in like, you did it, kid.
Right.
Like the 1984 version does.
Oh, yeah.
That's a problem. Yeah, the 1984 version literally ends with them like besting Feyd-Rautha with his voice.
The voice.
Oh.
In that version of the movie, they weaponize
like,
the voices. It's literally like a gun, and he could scream Muad'Dib, and it breaks stone and stuff. Yeah.
That's neat.
Oh. It has like Black Bolt powers.
Kind of.
Oh, okay.
But he has the knife fight with Sting.
Yeah.
Puts the fucking blade through his neck, and he's laying there dying, and he screams at him, and it literally opens his chest and breaks the ground underneath him.
Damn.
An interesting part.
But anyway, to the point, the movie though does, and after that, it's another like voiceover of, and he brought water to Arrakis, and everyone lived happily ever after. And you're just like, oh wait, what about the billions of people?
Yeah.
Trillions of people.
He unleashed a
at the start of the Holy War, fade to black.
And we won.
I was surprised going into this movie. I was expecting here's the hero and the hero's journey. So I was pleasantly surprised by the end, being like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. He's not all apples and gravy, as they say nowhere.
Yeah.
Dane says,
on Arrakis,
I think Uncle Ben would advise Paul differently. With great power comes great responsibilities.
Wait, differently from what he did do? Uncle Ben would say you shouldn't do these things? Probably.
Yeah.
He's doing what he can, though. You know what I mean? He can actually see
Dune.
the future. He's doing what he can.
Yeah.
I like the Desert Spring thing was really cool. I liked the prophecies were really cool. I like the complication of Paul. I think that the good faith interpretation of it in the version of the film, because of all of the layers that they add in regards to even the conversation he has with Chani in the tent, our people, she's like, you're never going to be one of us. You are to me, but you don't belong here and you never will. Even that leads to more of the layers of the movie itself, understanding this is not a white savior. This is somebody who is in a position to destroy or not. And
although later in the
doesn't
movie,
glorify
I think or she or somebody is like, oh no, actually you are one of us. Right?
They eventually, yeah.
Oh, that's when she completely
accept him.
That's when she completely turns from him, though. Like after he, first of all,
I thought she said it later.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember.
The mother, Jessica and him. Jessica more so manipulates her.
Oh, for sure.
Into saving him.
She's like, I need to do this. I'll be down there doing this. When you get here, it'll be done.
Well, even the water of life part, like they just jump right into it. He takes it, and the prophecy being that he will be revived by the water of a desert spring. Her secret name means desert spring.
Right.
Her tears, water. Like they literally manipulate her to do that, and she knows it in the moment. But it's just like, so I do it or I let him die.
Yeah.
And slaps him immediately. The fact that she slaps him immediately instead of like hugs him and kisses him, I was just like, fuck you, you're awesome. This movie's great.
And they also can see the future. So it's like part causing it to happen, part making use of what they see will happen. And
I was surprised. I did not know from the movie. I knew it from the TikTok that I mentioned earlier. It's like, I guess the water of life.
Yes.
The water of life, the business that they take in, the spice. It's I guess math based, so it makes you like super good at math, and that's how you're able to see the future.
It opens your mind.
Right, but like you're able to see all the different pathways that could go in a direction, and so you're able to see the future that way, right?
Is he bringing in stuff from the book, or is he saying in this movie? So in the book there are mentats. And them too. Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff. There's like a whole corporate buying spice thing that's out. There's the Ixian space navigators that use the spice.
Break down. Forget the opens your mind and does good math part. Yeah. Break down why spice is needed for space travel.
Okay, so it lets you see the future, right? And so these Ixians have, I think, genetically modified themselves. I forget, but they're like kind of different looking than humans, but they were human or similar biologically. So they take the spice and they can go into some sort of state where they can perceive, because you're moving around real fast going through a bunch of stuff, and they need to navigate these pathways so that you don't hit things, and the spice opens their mind in such a way that they can do that. But in the book, there are things called mentats, and one of them was in one of the first movies, Thufir Hawat.
There's two of them. The Harkonnens had one too.
Oh, of course. Of course they do. And because computers are outlawed in this world, because of some stuff that happened a long time ago, they have trained people to be like computers. Yeah. And that is that math thing. The seeing the future was, as far as I recall, always more of just like a mystical. The melange lets you do this.
Oh, okay.
And it would happen too. Yeah.
Like psilocybin, just like hardcore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dane says, and definitely another great score by Hans Zimmer. Whoa, that's true. I didn't. Thank you. That adds to the emotional impact, especially the ending when Zendaya leaves. Sam says there's a hilarious TikTok of people in a parking garage using the Echo to sing a main song back and forth at each other.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a really great TikTok, and I'm sorry, I'm describing a fucking TikTok. They're walking down a long corridor in a parking garage. Two women, one's at the very top, one's in the bottom. The one at the bottom just goes, and the other one like does it back, and it literally sounds exactly like the movie. It was fucking awesome.
That's pretty cool.
You know, like the chanting in the movie?
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Send it to me, Sam.
Don't do it.
Hi, Cold. Oh, Alice. Hi, Cold Poppers. Noel looks different than last week.
Uglier.
Yeah. Oh. I said, yeah, right after. He stuck it in there.
Like, yeah.
Then I agreed.
Yeah. Hi, Alice. Hey, Alice, your TikTok, what is it, 104 something thousand views?
Alice, I'm just keeping your seat warm. I'll see you next week.
Jerk. Everyone loves you, Alice. Anything else? What are we talking about?
Yeah, so there was Anya Taylor-Joy's character, the
sister
fetus that was exposed to the water of life. That's in utero.
Thank you. Yes. I was like, when was Anya Taylor-Joy in this movie? Oh, she was the babe.
In the like timeline of this book, though, she's born like a toddler.
In the book, she's born. Yeah. She has all of the so she and Paul and Lady Jessica have all of the memories of their entire genetic line, right? Going back to Agamemnon in ancient Greece specifically.
No big whoop.
And so she comes out into the world, Arrakis, as a full adult and is called the Abomination, right? And she kills Baron Harkonnen at 3 years old.
With her mind or some shit, right?
I think she stabs him through in the throat or something.
Oh, yeah.
But
I remember, again, the 1980-something movie.
Right.
There's a fucking little toddler in a Benny Jesuit suit with the big old head, and she is full weird sentences and a weird voice modulation, and she's fucking with the Baron, and he's just floating around and hitting walls and stuff. It's hilarious.
Villeneuve talked about doing that and was like, in a book it's awesome. Here it would be this murderous toddler.
Yeah,
it wouldn't really come across.
I just watched. I finally got around to watching the original Pet Sematary. Very similar thing happens in that, where there's a toddler who comes back from the dead, and he's got a scalpel.
Was he buried in the Pet Cemetery?
Yeah.
The kid dies and they bury him in the cemetery to bring him back.
Yeah.
Hilarity and
so
on purpose.
And so the father who is who brought back his son is wrestling this doll. You know what I mean? With it's very silly. It's hard to take seriously.
They should totally have a real kid in there and just
wrestle him
like a stunt kid.
Yeah. Just maybe a couple in case. You know.
Right. They're fragile.
Exactly.
I will say that for negatives, gripes, if you will, the turn of Paul felt a little too quick for me. He spends, I feel a good portion of this movie being nah, I'm not gonna do it. Nah, and then he's all right, I got to do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. So that was a little too quick for me. And I'm that's a long ass movie. It could have taken a little bit more time with the turn. And then the other thing was every person in this movie felt like the actors all felt like they somehow transported themselves into other characters that existed in this world, and they felt lived in and very specific.
Disappeared into the role.
They disappeared into their roles, and then Christopher Walken shows up, and he's just Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
I was just
I'm the emperor.
No, you like spice. Yeah, it's just
your father was weak.
Yeah. I just I think
he fucking nailed it. There's only one other actor that I would have accepted in that role, and that's Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
In old man makeup.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Those worms over there.
I'm not even joking.
Nicolas Cage version would want to ride the worms and ride them.
Yeah.
Not even joking. Nicolas Cage should be in part 3.
Probably.
Oh, hey, by the way, speaking of those worms.
What's up? Speaking of those worms.
They make a big deal out of running, and they do the little
with the hooks,
sand
hooks.
bangers.
Yeah.
And they summon the worm, and then he runs, and then they right, and he jumps and he hooks him.
Here's the thing.
And then later we see an entire palanquin,
I believe.
Maybe that. How did they all get on there? She's on there.
Probably. Here's the thing.
In a little booth.
You tame them, and then you just throw a bunch of people on there.
They must have a way of. Here's the thing. That's it.
Okay.
If you
Listen,
ride,
they did it.
You get on a worm, and you get another worm riding next to that worm, and then a third worm in the middle. And you throw the lines from the palanquin over the worm in the middle onto the second worm.
Got it.
And then the sand riders on the second worm grab that, and then boom onto the middle worm.
Oh, done.
What's the
Plus, they can see the future.
What's the name of the big worm? The Shai Gabar.
Shai Hulud. You call
Shai
it
Hulud?
Yeah.
Shai LaBeouf.
Shai Hulud. The grandfather of the desert.
Yeah, the big poobah.
Did you see Nicky Cage is older now? Did you see him on the Oscars, Ask Sam?
I did see him on the Oscars.
He's got a lot less elasticity in his neck skin. He's got a lot less elasticity in his neck skin.
It happens to us all, Sam.
Yeah.
What about the Harkonnens' planet?
Yeah, it's cool. Getty Prime. It was awesome.
In shot in infrared, evidently, and all. I don't know why that instead of just black and white, but it looked cool.
Because it's cooler.
I mean,
we could say it was infrared.
It looked cool.
It did.
But
it looked really cool.
There was one, the second viewing, there was one thing that kind of bugged me just a touch. And now that I didn't know it was shot in infrared. That's probably why. When the Baron is being rolled out into the auditorium, he's inside, then he's outside. He is wearing black latex.
Okay.
When they show him outside looking down, it looks like white satin.
Oh, because it's reflecting light.
Because it's reflecting light.
Interesting.
So it was it almost looked like a continuity error.
Interesting.
But because if they shot it in infrared and then reversed image, then yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's, I don't wonder. This is what it's like on that world. That like
if I
you can
wore
only see
something
black
reflective,
and very bright. Yeah, exactly.
Bye, Sam.
Oh yeah, it's 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
I have one last question. Dane, if you're still watching, you have a subscription to the Dune comic books at my shop. So I'm just curious, how are those graphic novels? Do they take place? Are they retellings of the movie?
They're
They're prequels, like because they have
Prequels.
like different series for each houses. Like there's a House Atreides book, a House Harkonnen book. Yeah.
Which there are books of those that were written by Brian Herbert and the mystery sci-fi writer whose name I do not recall.
Steve.
Steve.
Steve Ryder.
Hey, Chris.
Steve Ryder.
Steve S.C. Ryder.
How do we get a Nick Cage version? Asked Chris Dunn. We go back in time.
I assume you just
Alternate
ask him.
reality would also work.
I feel like if you just ask
doesn't say
Nick
no.
Cage, he didn't say no. Like all he needs is like a promissory note or something.
You know what you do is you contact Nick Cage and see if he has a what are those things called that I get you? A cameo.
Yes.
Ask if he has a cameo and then have him act out.
Yo, is Nick Cage on Cameo anyway though?
That'd be awesome. I don't think we could afford Nick Cage's
I want to
cameo.
talk to Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Oh, but so the way I think they just get off the regular worms, because I've seen this come up, right? You just if you direct it down into the sand,
And you just slowly walk off.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and you do it with
It's like
a
when
walking
you're
cane
falling in an elevator
It's as
and then
though
you jump at the
centrifugal
end.
force isn't a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's as though that.
Great
It's going
tie-ins
super
that
fast, and I
tell
just like walk off. Yeah.
prequel
exactly.
story, says Dane.
I
The
love
comic
it.
books
You
are
got to do
about
it
this.
in the right way.
Yeah.
Something about the Fade Routher's character that I thought was really interesting, that's unlikely to come up because he is now dead, is that
He could survive that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So he's almost the Kwisatz Haderach. Like his he's like nearly there. The genetics are almost there, and it's part of why he is so villainous. He's like, cruel because of the almost being able to
I did not know
be,
that.
and they don't bring it up in the movie.
They kind of bring it up as him being a backup.
Oh, he's got
in the
the
movie.
line, right? We'll
Yeah,
need some of
true.
that.
It's
Yeah,
like because the Paul of it all is getting out of hand for the
That's what they should
Queen
call
Mother
Dune 3.
ladies. Yeah,
The Paul of it all.
Dune 3, the Paul of it all is getting out of hand, and he's not as controllable. So who's our next in line? Oh, we secured the bloodline because I stooped him, and here's how you control him. And he did the box test. So like he is
right. The Kam Jabbar. And because Paul's not supposed to be born at all. Lady Jessica was supposed to have a daughter.
What?
And they were like, what's his name? Duke Leto wanted a son, and she was like, "This is within my power. I will do that."
Right.
And the Bene Gesserit, as I always thought they were called, were displeased.
Yeah, that's why they consider Paul an abomination. He's not only is he not supposed to be a boy, he also is not supposed to be able to do the things that she taught him to do. Yeah.
So he can do what the only the Reverend Mothers have been able to do, right? And that wasn't supposed to happen for a while.
Water
I
of
guess.
life.
Yeah.
Hey, Dylan, you watched Dune 2, yes?
I sure did.
Wow.
What did you think? Are you mic'd?
I am mic'd. I'm
Wonderful.
mic'd and ready to go.
Excellent.
I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
You would.
Yeah, I would, and I do, and I did, and yeah, you guys touched on a lot of the things that I really liked about it. The one thing I want to bring up that I saw online that I'm sure somebody will have an answer for was in towards the end of the battles when they were really giving it to the Harkonnens, and the Harkonnens were sort of kind of getting defeated. Why didn't the Harkonnens just use more guns?
So that's a good question.
Yeah, there's a lot of swords here.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have those
and
shields.
they do use the guns in some parts.
Oh, that's true.
But then later
guns, some
on,
don't.
it's I get Austin Butler's character, him being no, I'm gonna
Even the first action sequence with the literally 5 minutes into the movie with all those raiders hunting them in the desert.
They have guns.
Some of them have rifles.
Yeah.
When shit goes south fast, they just all pull their swords.
Right. So I mean, maybe it speaks to them trying to adapt to the territory and use weapons that people from the territory use as well.
But even the emperor's main dudes, who honestly the Fremen just make little work.
The Fremen fighting stuff is awesome.
Yeah, like
awesome.
I kind of missed
and
it the first.
exhausting to watch.
Yeah, but coming up out of the sand like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of missed it the first go around because I didn't read the books, but they talk about like the Emperor's basically his guard. It's like a planet of warriors and they've breed to war and oh my God, they're hard to fight. And then by the time the Fremen meet them, it's off screen. It's just like, kill them all.
Yeah, the
keep
Fremen
these
are not
guys,
worried
let's go.
about these guys.
And they don't even show it because it's just like, okay.
They're quite the warriors as well. So
Duncan,
you do see it a little bit, and I forget if you actually see Fremen with these, but it would make sense that there are these shields, and they're kind of manifest as like a black vibratory thing.
Oh yeah,
those are awesome,
right?
Yeah.
So they are kinetic shields that something of a certain force can't pass through.
Oh,
like
wait.
bullets.
So I remember in the first movie where he's like, oh, the slow blade pierces whatever you were talking about.
They
but
have their Chris knives.
The Fremen have those too?
Yeah, well, so the Fremen have these Chris knives, which I assume are those machetes.
Yeah, and aren't they like poisoned? I heard that there's something about...
There's definitely poison on one of them in this movie. Oh, but that was Fade Routha had poison on his blade.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
The Chris knives, which you are not supposed to sheathe until you have drawn blood if you unsheath it. So be careful. And yeah, you can whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
But
wait, which knife had poison on it?
Fade Routha's one of them did, right?
I think it's something. It might have been something I saw that they like. Oh, what's in the book that they didn't include in the movie?
Oh, I thought
I was gonna say because
I don't know.
Homie got stabbed in the side and pulled it out and stabbed him.
That's
right,
true.
Right.
I hope
Maybe
it
at a
didn't have
different
poison on
time.
it.
He's okay.
I mean,
But-
he did rip it out of his abdomen and stuck it in his chest, so that's
Right
pretty
before
cool,
the poison got to me.
Which I mean, super slick.
That was awesome.
It was really slick.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
He was watching the other knife. But so they have those shields, and that's why the Fremen carry these knives specifically.
That's
So
right.
it makes sense that the
That
Fremen
makes
would have
sense.
them.
Yeah.
In the '84 movie, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
like
effects were not as good as this one.
blocky animation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
but so I mean, but the Harkonnens have those like the suits, but so then why that? I mean, I don't know. I feel like they could have used their guns more. I don't know if maybe it's something that
I think it's
I don't know.
partially I think it's just the suits, actually. I was going to say partially because they're so good at hiding, which they are. But I think it's really probably just the suits, and they didn't, like, I don't
The
remember
Fremen
seeing them
suits?
have the suit. Not the black suits that you see.
Still suits.
Yeah, the still suits that recycle
Yeah,
water, but the
yeah.
shields, I mean. No, I guess not the suits. So everyone has shields. This is in like the year 10,000 or something like that. Humanity has spread so far out and technology is so far advanced that I think it's like, even though they seem like maybe a culture that doesn't have a lot of technology, they still have a lot of stuff.
Well, I mean,
you know?
absolutely. The suits that they wear that recycle
suits.
their water and
Yeah.
stuff like that, I recognize that. But like,
But very like
I don't know.
practical technology. You know, the suits are very practical technology, whereas the
Right.
shields energy stuff seems even more advanced, and they don't, you know.
They looked
But-
like in 1984.
Oh, I remember those blocky
Wow.
shield type effects.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to watch that movie. Yeah.
Shit, it's
But
weird.
yeah, I don't think they do a great job of showing why. Because, like I said, I couldn't recall if you saw the Fremen have those shields, and if they don't, then there's no other reason
Right.
for them to even use those knives. Like they could use guns on each other. They,
Yeah.
looks, maybe in the sand. I don't know.
Oh, sure. Well,
Yeah,
we're done. We did it. We talked about Dune 2.
that was it.
I
We
want
all
to see it
loved
again. I want to see it
Yeah.
again.
Oh, and
definitely want to see it
it
again.
ends in, as you guys know, not the end of a story.
Yeah. That was a surprise. I
Right.
thought this was going to be the end of Dune.
Me too, and I had forgotten what. So I know that books 1 and 2 are really one story, but I had read it so long ago that I really think of Dune as being one story. 2 is a very important follow-up to that story, but you get a full story in Dune, and I think you might in the book. But yeah, so I was kind of like, ooh, big risk.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a risk to do that at the end of the first one, and now
Yes.
another.
Yeah, these two movies are like basically just the first book, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it just ends with the beginning of the declaration of the Holy War.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
some stuff, and I forget what it's what, but that's like swap back and forth or whatever. And Chani's role is very different, so we'll see what happens there, or at least somewhat different. But yeah, so it made a lot of money. He's writing the the third one. So hopefully that happens.
He said that's the last one he's going to do.
Yeah.
Yes and no. He said all I'm thinking about is the third one. If after that one I change my mind, I change my mind. Because he was like, I think about one movie at a time. I really wanted to do part 2. Now that part 2's over, I really want to do part 3.
Sure.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And then if at the end of that I feel like continuing, then we'll think about another Dune.
That's cool.
But it's 3 with an option to extend.
Yeah.
Awesome. But he also doesn't want to do it right away. And I think there's a time gap too in the books.
Between 1 and 2?
I think I read somewhere it's like 10, 12 years.
There's a lot more time in book 1 that happens.
Yeah.
Like years pass when, I mean, like, what's her name? Aaliyah, his sister, is like 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not born the day he goes into exile.
Yeah.
Although it is quickly.
I wouldn't be shocked if we wait like 5 years for another movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he could do something else.
That could be the case.
We did for this one.
3 years.
For this?
3
Well, I mean, it was
supposed to be released earlier.
Yeah.
It was done 6 months ago.
Yeah. But they couldn't promote it because of the actors.
Yeah, it was
strike.
supposed to come out in October.
Right.
Last year. Yeah.
So I hope we get a third one.
Dane says, JD, watch the Lynch Dune, if only to see Sting as Fade.
Fade Rafa.
Yeah.
The Austin Butler role.
Why did he sound like, what's his name?
Because that's his uncle and who he worships in the movie.
I don't sound like my uncle.
Yeah, but your uncle didn't raise you to take over his throne.
And your uncle is not like the dictator / president / master of an entire generation.
And does he have a distinctive speaking voice?
Oh, wait. The fact that they killed Bautista's character.
Yeah.
That was a whole badass arc. Because like he's the big he's like the big muscled bad guy, you know, in the last one. And it's like, nope. There's someone else more badass.
Yeah.
I love him. I love Bitsy.
Great movie.
Can't
wait to see it again.
Oh, and there's a show. There's a Bene Gesserit show apparently still happening.
Yeah. On Max, the home for HBO, will have.
Oh, is that on? I thought it was Amazon.
No,
the Max. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's all WB owned.
Sure.
So. They're supposed to be doing a Bene Gesserit show. I have no idea if it's current or prequel or whatever.
It would have to be. Otherwise, they're going to be like.
I mean,
we can't talk about what happened with.
I don't know these
Dune stuff.
These asshole priestess are everywhere doing all kinds of shit.
They
so
do a
maybe,
lot, and humanity has spread quite far.
Quite thin. Yeah. Maybe it's going to be at a different house altogether doing something. And
oh yeah, that's possible. Yeah, I'll check it out.
All right, and we'll check you out next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll talk about something in front of microphones.
Probably not Dune 2.
Probably not. Yeah, I think we covered that one.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.
Do.